Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? And how is my sound?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you too. So it's going to be just the two of us because MJ is sick. So next week. Hopefully, we'll be back with Georgi Dimitrov. Today, it's going to be our a way. We're going to try to read a piece, and we'll have a lot of hot takes. How about that?
Okay. Give that a shot.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to talk about was this weekend, People for Bernie account tweeted to say Bernie should run for president again. How do you feel about that?
The only thing that Bernie should be running for at this point is the bathroom because his old man bladder is failing him.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is that in 2016, you had the excuse that Bernie wasn't ready early on. He wasn't equipped to deal with the Democratic Party machine. Da 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 da. But in 2020, you just showed that the Democratic Party proved that they don't even have to adhere to the rules that they agreed to. So there was this big unity commission where they agreed on all these random rules. And then with the Iowa primary, what they did was they gave the ballot counting software to some random friend of Pete Buttigieg's, and it was a mess. And then Bernie was leading, and then Obama made a few phone calls and got a lot of the candidates to drop out.
That's why. Here's why it's weird. Bernie wasn't leading. Buttigieg was leading when he dropped out. That's why it was real tough.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was in the lead.
Okay.
It was marginal by maybe 1 point, but he was the leading candidate in the primary field when he dropped out, which should really illustrate the poll that Obama had in the DNC at the time. But what they said from the backroom deal with him was that Pete, if you drop out now, you will never have more power in the Democratic Party in your life. So basically he became he took this bullshit transportation secretary gig, and he's just gonna essentially jerk off and hope in 2036 they elevate him to the top of the primary field or something like that. I think it's a gamble there will even be a United States in 2036.
Inshallah. Exactly, and then okay, so then you got the Warrens and all the other John somethings and all of them to drop out. And then I was in South Carolina. I walked 12 miles a day every day for Bernie Sanders. I mean, the song "I Would Walk 500 Miles," and I did that. I have tweets that prove to you how many miles a day I walked every single day for Bernie.
Wow.
This stream is about bourgeoisie, electoralism, and the folly of that. I would exactly, and I've knocked on so many doors in South Carolina. I didn't care if they were racist. I didn't care if they were going to shoot me. I was like, okay, if you have to shoot me, go ahead, because you're racist. I don't care. But then I did not see a single Joe Biden presence. There was not a single staffer, there was not a single worker, but he magically won South Carolina, and I still do not understand because.
Well, I was bored, so I canvassed for Bernie, here in Massachusetts. Like, I mean, it wasn't even just like seeing the signs on the street. Like, I mean, I saw the software. I saw like the files and like the logs of like, you know, we did like the surveys of like, you know, who's supporting who's supporting who.
Yeah, I did all of those.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I saw the software, all that. Like, I mean, Biden was not even number 5, and like he won in my state like overwhelmingly.
Exactly. Like there was no bloody way. So in the Democratic Party, they're trying to say that what you see with your don't believe your own lying eyes. And
Well,
in
I mean,
Michigan,
what I believe is the transcripts where they said that they were under no obligation to count any of the votes.
exactly, and then Michigan came next. Like I went all over the country for Bernie. Michigan came next, and with Michigan, there is no bloody way Biden won Michigan. I know it because I know Michigan. It's my state. I just he did not like Hillary did not win in 2016 Michigan, and somehow Bernie lost in Michigan, and there was a lot of voting irregularities. Some polls randomly closed, and you know all this bullshit.
Yeah, the exit polls in Massachusetts were like worse than what the OAS did to justify cooing Eva Morales.
Exactly, and the same in Michigan. I don't remember. I do remember that it was worse than the OAS thing in Honduras where they overthrew Zelaya. So, yeah, if this like was a U.S. unfriendly country, they would have totally tried to do a color revolution with these exit poll discrepancies. Um, so it seems like the Democrat. Okay, if you have to run as a Democrat, and they kind of control. It's like a little smoky back room where they control everything. There is no way a candidate like Bernie Sanders will ever come up. And in fact, I was they did. It's not even Bernie Sanders. Screw Howard Dean was like kind of screwed over by the Democratic Party in 2004.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I mean, basically the candidates in the U.S. are picked by bundlers for ExxonMobil.
Yep.
And the worst thing is I've seen so many heartbreaking videos where people who are working minimum wage jobs are like giving their last $2 for Bernie Sanders or some because they think they're going to pass minimum wage. And with AOC, I was really mad that she ended up like giving some of the money from people's hard-earned like 7 minimum wage jobs to bloody CIA agents like Elise Stepanik. And I'm like, what the hell is so? I feel like it's unethical at this point to even like ask people who are like ask these individual donors who are working so hard, who are giving all their hopes into these campaigns.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like if like really like it should have been more than enough in between 2016 and 2020 just with those transcripts that were coming out in 2017 from the lawsuits that happened under Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
But like that really should have been enough. But like, I mean, after 2020, it's like, no, like
exactly.
Anybody who is like suggesting that like we participate in like any of this like mainstream electoralist bullshit or actually give hard-earned cash to bourgeois politicians like needs to be just pushed off a cliff. At this point,
exactly, I agree.
There's no excuse for it. Like unless you came out of it like an 8-year coma, and like even then, even then, your medical bill should convince you that it's not worth it.
Exactly. Somebody remember the 8 minutes and 50. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna clip this. Exactly. In fact, exactly. And the reason why. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna need to get a drink. So can you just like quickly ramble about something for exactly 30 seconds while I bring some sparkling lemon water?
Yeah, no problem. And I will sit here and do my soothing radio voice. As I used to be on the graveyard shift out here on Robert Goddard's radio station. Fun fact about Worcester, Massachusetts.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay,
and I have my sparkling lemon water.
There you go. It's like a bottle of Canada Dry. So.
Yeah.
No, I was just.
I mean, are you there?
Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you have to realize is that another thing is that A lot of with Beth, the Greek one, Beth, she's bourgeoisie alien. She's a really funny writer. She was talking about how she would not support another run, and people were like, "We shifted the conversation," and I'm like, "Sure,
To
but
what? To
to
what?
what? Who cares? Because the people in the U.S. do not care about your conversation. Your conversation shift will have no impact on the political situation."
Yeah, like I mean, that's the other thing. Why people so like forget bourgeois electoralism. Let's talk about direct action for a second. All right,
Yeah.
2020 had 8 months of sustained violent protests, like police stations burning the fuck down. All right,
Yes.
the result was a uniform increase in police funding in all 50 states. That's what
Exactly.
that's what 8 months of concentrated stochastic violence in the streets gets you. So, like, really step your game up here.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what people do. Yeah. And again, about maybe 10, 15 years ago, Princeton did a study, and public opinion has a negative impact on policy.
If anything, it had like zero
Too
statistical
negative.
indicate. Yeah, if anything, there's like a marginal negative correlation.
Exactly. So, I mean, of course, with Lenin, he talks about constitutional illusions, and he explains that it's ridiculous to assume that a system that is not designed to take the will of the people into account will spit out policy. And the U.S. is a state designed by genocidal slave owners to uphold genocidal slavery. I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 once. James Madison literally said the purpose of our state is to protect those with property from those without. And the U.S. works beautifully and perfectly and has been doing that worldwide since 1770 something.
Yes, I tell people this all the time when they love to get like real condescending about it. Like, well, if you want to see what like the DPRK like supports for their state, read their constitution, and then they're like,
I have read their constitution, and they have minimum. They have
yeah,
a paid
well,
vacation in their constitution.
that's what I'm saying, and like people will come at you with this like condescending thing, like, since when do you expect like countries to uphold their constitutions? And it's like, well, the United States does it beautifully.
Exactly.
Like, and like, because people are like very, very stupid, and they're just so used to like saying like referring to like everything bad as being quote unquote unconstitutional without having like any concept of whatever the hell that means. Because like here we have this weird system where laws are judged by constitutionality, which is a concept that's arbitrated by 9 law wizards.
All from and you don't even all from either Harvard or Yale. It's even rare to get somebody from say Columbia or Stanford.
Yeah.
Like literally all of them are
and Stanford is MK Ultra U. So like
I know, but I'm just saying that they won't even go as low. Like you can't. You get such elites that it's literally Harvard or Yale and nobody else.
Yep. Like, yeah, no. So, like, there's no constitution of whether or not something's good or smart. It's always a question of, like, is it constitutional? Whatever the fuck that means.
And usually constitutional is Supreme Court justices making it up all along. So there's one case from 1912 called Hammer v. Dagenhart, where they said that banning child labor violates the Commerce Clause.
Yep. Well, like there's a long-held saying in regards to the Supreme Court in the United States that like it's not final because it's infallible. It's infallible because it's final.
Mm-hmm. Bush versus Gore is another great example. What they did, it was like, there's a random date that Florida made up, and we have to uphold that random date, but this won't be precedent for anything.
Yeah.
Just for this one little time, this random date that Florida made up is important.
Yeah, despite the fact that like our whole job here is to set precedent that will be like looked.
But this can't be used as precedent, is what they said there.
Yeah, and like this, and like suddenly like this, it's our whole job to set precedent, but not right now.
Exactly. So there's and then there's like so then there's somebody today asked me like, oh, you used to like AOC, why have you soured against her? And I'm like, well, look at what she has. She spoke the right things in 20, what year was that? 2018.
Well, here's my thing. Like with AOC is, I never liked her. I thought it was hilarious the way she just handed Joe Crowley's ass to him. Like,
yeah,
that was awesome. That was fucking hilarious.
Yes.
And like I was mildly interested in her until the first time I heard her speak in an interview, and then I'm like, nope.
Okay, hold on. But let's continue with this AOC thing. So now, once she got into Congress, did she ask people like me, Rania Kaliak, about foreign policy? No, she unfollowed us, and then she literally met with Bolivian fascists. One of the fascists she met with on that day on video said he wanted to burn. He used this derogatory C word for Aymara people. She wanted to burn this C word lady, set this lady on fire, and AOC met with this Bolivian fascist.
Wow. Wait, yep. Average international relations major.
Exactly. And then what you see is that she has she fired all her what's his name? Saikat Chakravorty. He used to be a very progressive guy, but then she fired him for saying something rude about on Twitter, and then got Beto O'Rourke advisors who then like tell her to say free Tibet, and then vote infinite money on Ukraine and whatever other. Also vote no on lifting Syrian sanctions. In fact, like usually the only dissenting vote on U.S. foreign policy is usually Thomas Massie.
Yeah, or occasionally Rand Paul.
Okay, yeah, Rand Paul in the Senate, though.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
Thomas Massie's in the House.
Where's he from?
Kentucky, I believe, but I'm not. I could be, or Georgia, or maybe...
Weird, because Rand Paul's also from Kentucky.
No, so. I don't know if... Okay, somebody look up where Thomas Massie is from. He's from one of those middle southern states. What else? So yeah, and okay, so I guess so today's piece is going to be about capitalism and parliament. So let me share this to the chat. Oh, by the way, as soon as we're done here, I'll be on Press TV at 9:30 Moscow time. What time is it for you guys?
That would be, I think, 1:30 Eastern for us.
Or 2:30.
Or 2:30. Yeah, 2:30.
Okay, so Thomas Massie is also from Kentucky. So something's going on in Kentucky with the
something weird happening there.
Good. I'm not going to complain.
Kentucky's always been interesting, though. There's a municipality there named Vicco, Vicco. It's like a population of like 300 people, one of the poorest places on the planet. First place in the United States to legalize gay marriage by popular vote.
Oh yeah, and then I believe Louisville had a gay mayor too.
Yeah, so did Vicco.
Okay. And I did not realize Louisville is named after the last Louis.
Oh yeah, well, Bourbon, Kentucky.
Oh yeah, I will send you the Press TV link as soon as I know it myself. So I will send it to you as soon as I know it myself.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be talking about China and Russia relations, and I had to listen to Vladimir Vladimirovich drone. Like, he speaks like a robot that is about to lose its charge.
He's a very
monotone.
He's a very measured person. Like, I'll put it politely like that. Like, at best. I was impressed. Like the first time I ever heard him speak, that like. Somebody allegedly so scary could be this clearly boring.
Yeah.
But he is prone to like cracking like some pretty good jokes. Like,
my favorite joke is his JFK assassination joke. He explains why the US foreign policy never changes is because what happens is that on the first day, men in black suits go to the president and show a video of the JFK assassination in an angle that has not been seen.
What the fuck? He totally ripped that off from my Twitter account.
No, he did not. He told this joke in 2014.
It's like I've been telling this joke. Okay, I wasn't on Twitter in 2014, but
Okay.
I've been telling this joke since I was like a teenager. What, like,
Okay.
God damn it! Like, yeah, no, oh, God damn it! Oh, God damn it! God damn it!
Well, I guess you and Putin have the same jokes.
There we go. Oh man, like that's not good.
Why?
Because like I mean that's like the political equivalent of like hearing your satire is like you like basically dad jokes. Like,
Or grandpa jokes, probably, for
yeah, I
Vladimir
mean Jesus
Vladimirovich.
Christ. Like, oh,
Well,
hi JFK assassination. I'm dad.
yeah. Okay. So I sent I shared the piece. So let's get started before, and please super chat me. Do all the good things. Like, subscribe, go to historically.net. And don't do any of the bad things.
Yeah, subscribe to historically.com as a paid subscriber.
Historically.net.
.net. Okay. .net as a paid subscriber because I need Russian lessons so I can write Stalin books.
Exactly. Exactly. So become a paid subscriber. It's only $5 a month, and you're going to get lots of content. And I'm really working on finishing my 4-year this article that I've been working on for the past 4 years about how the U.S. tried to create a race war in Bolivia.
And I've got my Ukraine compendium coming that like I've spent the last 18 months working on. So.
Okay, so we're both. I mean, I'm beating you with the 4-year mark with the Bolivia thing.
Yeah, no. Once you said that, I stopped feeling bad. I'm not going to lie.
But so like this week, okay, we're gonna have to censor ourselves because we don't know who's watching and we don't want certain people. Okay, but yeah, this week my writer's block just lifted.
Right.
Okay, okay, let's get started. Nevskaya Zvezda means so Neva is a river here in Leningrad, Petrograd. Zvezda means star. So, okay, 1912. Signed, oh, this is funny. Lenin signed it, a non-liberal skeptic. The facts of democracy must not make us lose sight of a circumstance often overlooked by bourgeoisie Democrats, that in the capitalist countries, representative institutions inevitably give rise to specific forms in which capital exercises its influence on the state power. We have no parliament, but there is no end of parliamentary cretinism among the liberals and of parliamentary license among all the bourgeoisie deputies.
Oh, do you want to trade paragraphs? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, hold on. Okay, let me, hold on. Okay. I want to take a small break to answer this hot take. This question. I watched an old episode. You're critical of co-ops, but you didn't develop the criticism. Maybe off topic, but could you elaborate? What is the communist-Leninist critique of co-ops? Mussolini had co-ops. So co-ops does not, and also check out Mandagragan.
If you want to if you want to know about co-ops, look at the smoldering ashes of Yugoslavia. Tell me about co-ops.
Okay, hold on. Let me explain. There are good co-ops like Huawei. So co-ops, depending on itself, do not lead to socialism. So often the way Mondragon worked is that basically the first few people in this random Basque town got to be the major co-op people. And then eventually it ended up that they had literally Polish slaves. So co-ops themselves do not lead to any kind of liberation for the working class.
Yeah,
but DPRK in their constitution, you have a right to have a co-op like entrenched in their constitution. So once you have a dictatorship of the proletariat, co-ops can be great vehicles to develop worker power.
Yeah,
it cannot be there. You cannot use co-ops instead of a dictatorship of the proletariat. It has to come after.
I mean, some of the largest agribusiness setups are co-ops in the U.S. right now. Like, I think there's like 10 or 12 that rake in billions in like revenue from like some pretty exploitative practices. Is like under a capitalist system, like in order for the co-op to like function and stay open, it has to like literally like compete in the capitalist system, and the only way to do that is by being capitalist.
And Mussolini loved co-ops because he realized they dulled the class consciousness. So if co-ops can be thriving under Mussolini, there is nothing liberatory for the working class as a whole in them.
Yeah, no.
And Mondragon under Franco.
Uh,
Okay, let's continue. Let's trade paragraphs. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The workers must thoroughly master this truth if they want to learn how to use representative institutions for promoting the political consciousness, unity, activity, and efficiency of the working class. All the social forces hostile to the proletariat, the bureaucrats, landowners, and capitalists. He put bureaucrats in quotes, by the way. I like that.
Yeah.
The bureaucrats, landowners, and capitalists are already using these representative institutions against the workers. One has to know how they are doing this if one wants to learn to uphold the independent interests of the working class and its independent development.
This is like so relevant to our Bernie conversation earlier. Like it's like he foresaw this from 109 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I'm like, I like bureaucrats being in quotes here because, like, I'm just going to be honest. This is the early 20th century Russian version of like people saying the deep state.
Exactly.
That just clicked into my head. That's exactly what Trotsky was talking about when all these people said bureaucracy. It's one of these nonsense phrases that conceals way more than it reveals.
Exactly. Okay, so the next part is really interesting. The third Duma decided to, and it's so familiar. I don't know how. It's just like the U.S.
Well,
Congress.
we can thank ourselves for that because like we've changed nothing.
Exactly. From Tsarist Russia.
Yep.
Okay. The third Duma decided to award bonuses to home manufacturers of machinery. Who are these born manufacturers? The ones operating, quotes, in Russia. But upon examination, we find that they are foreign capitalists who have transferred their plants to Russia. Tariffs are high and profit immense, so foreign capital is moving into Russia. For instance, an American trust, a corporation of capitalist millionaires, has built a huge farm machinery works in Lyubertsy near Moscow. In Kharkov, farm machines are made by the capitalist Melhoz, and in Berdyansk, the capitalist John Greaves. These manufacturers are very much of the truly Russian home variety, aren't they?
That's awesome.
I love his sarcasm. I love everything about Lenin.
Yeah, then that's an interesting thing to remember that like even when we say like imperial big I imperial Russia, that like Russia was in the process of being colonized.
Well, it was partially colonized because the Tsar of Russia was like the cousin to Queen Victoria, and
well, he spoke French. Like, I mean, that's all you need to know.
In fact, there's a one recording of Tsar Alexander II, and if you listen to him speaking in Russian, he barely managed to do it. He had a really thick French accent. And and by the way, in Russia, I always get accused of speaking like Trotsky because sometimes I don't do the E sound properly, and they're like, people.
Yeah, well, they should have excavated that omni vowel from their language a long time ago.
No, but now I feel really self-conscious that I sound like Trotsky. I got accused of Sabzan Lenda Ru, and they accused me of sounding like Trotsky.
Well, at least nobody's accusing you of sounding like that guy from Russians with Attitude.
Okay. From Germany.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
you should always be suspicious of.
We've got we've got Volga Germans, and now we've got a German Volgan.
Exactly.
All right, but of course, unless they were helped in every way by Russian capitalists, they would have been unable to operate in Russia at all. One good turn deserves another. American, British, and German capitalists rake in profits with the help of Russian capitalists, who get quite a big share. Take, for example, the Lena goldfields or the mining enterprises in the Urals. How many millions foreign and Russian capitalists have shared between them there?
By the way, like I said, I was reading this original pamphlet from the Social Democratic Party in 1897, and there was a factory that literally forced the workers to work 20 hours a day.
Yep. Which, like, that's always the condition that you want people like operating heavy machinery in. Clearly that works. Because
I mean,
it doesn't cut into profits at all. Like when you've got to
it
like
cut into the arms probably and legs.
yeah, yeah, when you've got to pick like a middle schooler out, or what should be a middle schooler out of the gears, like
Yeah.
that doesn't slow anything down. Uh, the Duma is very useful to the industrialists in this respect. Both in the Duma and in the Council of State, the capitalists have a goodly number of representatives. The landlords too would not amount to much nowadays without capital. For both the capitalists and the landlords, the Duma is a ready-made machinery for passing laws on, quote, bonuses to be awarded to themselves, protective tariffs, i.e., another form of bonuses to themselves, concessions, a third form of bonuses to themselves, and so on without limit.
This is exactly what Wall Street, like this is exactly the bailout that's happening right now, and exactly this is such a beautiful definition of everything that happens in even every parliament in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Bourgeois parliaments
Yeah, and I
are.
like how the way Dave talks about bonuses to be as like a second form of bonuses,
Yeah,
third form.
bourgeois parliaments are a vacuum tube to funnel profits from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, it's the reverse of trickle down economics.
Or not profits, but wealth in general.
Okay, it's the reverse of trickle down. It's like the trickle up poverty.
Yeah, it's called vampirism.
Yeah. So trickle up poverty instead of trickle down prosperity, it's trickle up poverty. Poverty starts and it trickles up more and more and more poverty.
I like vampirism better.
I like trickle up poverty.
But what was the? Well, no, because nobody gets poorer at the top.
No. What happens is that they suck all the more. No, you have more and more poor people.
Yeah, it sounds like trickle up poverty sounds like the people at the top are getting poorer.
No, the people at the top are not getting poor.
I know, but that's what it
There
sounds
are
like.
more. There's going to be more and more
that's
people.
That's why I like vampirism better.
Okay, vampirism, like.
It worked for Marx and Capital. Like,
okay.
What does anybody in the chat know? What name of the of the book? It wasn't Dracula, but it was like the books that Marx was reading while he was writing Capital. It was a vampire fiction series, and that's why he uses that imagery so heavily, because it was like right in his mind.
Well, I also wrote an article called "Vampires and Jeffrey Epstein," where I explain where the legend of the vampire comes from. It's how the bourgeoisie used to abuse and exploit the peasants. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's a theme in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, wait,
I have a really funny story about Bram Stoker's Dracula. So, did you know that in Iceland, some guy who was translating it decided that he didn't like it? I don't know why, but he wrote his own fan fiction version of Dracula. After a few chapters, he just decided he was not going to translate Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was just going to do his own.
It's kind of a shitty book.
What?
It's really kind of like a shitty book. He was kind of like a hack writer, but like
Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
I read Dracula. Hold on. I'm explaining. But no one noticed for about 100 years until 100 years later, this Icelandic scholar decided to check, and he's like, "Wait a minute, this is not real." And then now but the Icelandic version of Dracula is actually better than Bram Stoker. There's two. There are a few problems with Dracula. At first, it's racist. Come on, some guy from the evil guy from the East comes and starts sucking blood of innocent British women.
No. The first off, the big point of Dracula is that he's moving into England to spread his death curse, specifically through real estate speculation.
Oh, I like that part. Never mind.
Okay, and there was a whole thing where they said that the book was anti-Semitic for a while, but if you look at Dracula and you think that's a Jew,
you're the anti-Semite.
You're the anti-Semite. But part of the whole thing was the reason when they travel to Dracula's township or whatnot in Romania, and the villagers try to kill the visitors. It's because they've cut a deal he's cut a deal with the locals that they provide him with meals, and he doesn't eat the locals.
Good enough for me.
Yeah,
And I always am okay with that. And British colonizers are always okay to be used as cannon fodder.
Yeah, and that's the feudalism critique.
Okay, but
there,
like I said, I'm like anytime, like I feel like that is like sacrificing British potential colonizers is for the greater good.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you can really make the case that in a lot of ways that Dracula is a metaphor for like this undying exploitation that transferred from the feudal lords to the bourgeoisie.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's doing the whole thing, like, you know, he's literally the count, the leader of the county in Transylvania, moving to London to acquire real estate.
Okay, so let's continue. The Skeptic, a liberal writing in the liberal Rech means speech in Russian, had some very apt comments to make on this matter. He writes with so much feeling against the nationalists who award themselves bonuses to stimulate the home manufacture of machinery by Messrs. Greaves, Melhouse, Elworthy, and other companies, that I too have become somewhat infected with skepticism. Yes, the liberal skeptic has not made a job of exposing the nationalists. But why does he say nothing about the cadets when Golovin, for instance, was seeking a concession and did not his position as a member of the Duma and the former chairman of the Duma stand him in good stead in that useful and lucrative pursuit?
When Maklakov was gobbling up his Tagiev fees.
So hold on, let me do. So Baku is the city. Okay, Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan, and nearby Baku, there's lots and lots and lots of oil fields, and so Makalov was like trying to get get the right to drill in Baku, Azerbaijan. Well, back then there was no Azerbaijan, but in Baku for his BFF.
Right. Okay. So when Maklakov was gobbling up Tagiev fees, did not his position as member of the Duma make it easier for him to get such, quote, profitable cases? And what about the numerous other cadet landlords, merchants, capitalists, financiers, lawyers, and brokers? Oh, I love the cadets who extended
Democrats.
Who extended their business, promoted their connections, and put through their affairs thanks to their position of the Duma, thanks to their position as members of the Duma, and to the benefits and advantages that position affords.
What if an inquiry were made into financial transactions carried out by Duma members or with the aid of Duma members? But no. In all capitalist countries, measures have been taken to protect trade secrets and to guarantee not a single parliament should permit such an inquiry. And this includes the U.S., where Congress members are literally allowed to do insider trading, and Nancy Pelosi does this all the time, and nothing can be done.
Yep. However, the working class deputies undoubtedly know a great deal about this matter, and if they took pains to look around, obtain additional information, collect material, look up newspaper files, inquire at the stock exchange, etc., they could themselves carry out a very instructive and useful inquiry into the business transactions carried out by Duma members or with the aid of such members.
And if the squad, or if AOC or whoever wanted to do this, they could, because that's the one thing they can do, is she has a freaking fracking Instagram account.
Well, I mean, he just what he said right here is, if any of these assholes could be bothered to fetch themselves a clue, they would be much more useful.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I have to say too, because there's nothing that's stopping anyone, like any of the squads, like Ilhan or AOC, whatever, from literally saying Nancy Pelosi insider traded here, and here. This guy insider, and boom. But that it's not going to happen.
In European parliaments, such transactions are well known, and the workers constantly expose them, naming the persons involved so as to enlighten the people.
Yeah. That was a very good piece.
Oh, they're all good.
I know everything is, but it's very pertinent to what we're talking about today.
Accurate, yes.
And that is the folly of that is the folly of I don't know. That is the folly of bourgeoisie parliamentarianism.
Electoralism in general, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because if like ultimately, as Marx says, the purpose of a state is to oppress one class over another, and if you can through elections just change who you oppress, then you won't really have a state. So it is designed so that you cannot change the nature of the state from within. Like, okay, there are basically only two countries in the world that has been kind of able to gain a foothold through electoralism. One is Bolivia and one is Venezuela. But the thing is that they still have to deal with like Nazi death squads after Evo Morales won or Hugo Chavez won.
Yeah, is anybody paying attention to what's going on in Nepal?
Yes. What about it?
Well, no. I mean, I'm just asking because, like, I'm not. It's just one of those things I've had a pin in for a while, and I haven't been following it as closely.
Let's do that. Okay, let's do Nepal this week on Bonsa.
Yeah, okay, that'd be cool. Like, because if anybody's curious, like what I'm talking about, there is a while back, they have a Maoist faction there that like basically accidentally won an election. So like they like every so often, like every other election cycle, the Maoists end up taking the parliament like in a sweep, and it's like and like weirdly like it's caused like some massive improvements.
Yeah, like in the literacy rate.
Yeah, in Nepalese everything, and naturally this is like caused like all the cracker Maoists in the West to denounce these guys, but like because like now they're like right deviationists or whatever. But like here's the thing, like this whole thing like participating in bourgeois parliaments, like the attitude is we do that like to demonstrate the uselessness of it, because like it was always assumed from the outset that you would never actually win. So like what happens when you actually win in the bourgeois parliament?
You have to use the power and do what they basically have to do what Evo Morales did and Hugo Chavez did.
Yeah, so
basically what they did is like, okay, we're gonna have a constitutional convention, we're gonna scrap the old constitution, throw it in the garbage, we're gonna have an actual people's, like Bolivia has probably the most democratic constitution ever. Like they literally went from village to village collecting amendments from random villagers, and then the Constituent Assembly came together and compiled it together and like picked the common things and then had a national referendum, two referendums for it, one to like
well, yeah, and like I mean that's
and then Bolivia also they also engaged in a good purge of reactionary judges, CIA trained police officers, military, like they all like
and like I haven't heard the U.S. like complaining about human rights in Nepal, so I don't think that's happened there yet.
Exactly, but Bolivia and Venezuela, they both did it very well. And that's why so Venezuela probably did it slightly better. Like even with Bolivia, with the coup, they only managed, like, so the indigenous people were completely armed and they blockaded the airport. And so the capital is La Paz. And so they blockaded the Alto airport. So basically it made it dangerous for people like Janine Áñez to actually fly out, and they couldn't get food up there. So because of that, they were kind of forced to have an election. They were like, okay, you want food, you MFs, better have an election. And the minute they had an election, Mas won.
Nice.
So one of my favorite clips, I put it here, where like the indigenous people are like, ahora sí, guerra civil, which means in this case, we're going to have a civil war. And they really, really did a lot. Like, so they were not able to stay in power for more than like 10 months, even with the counter-revolutionary fascist coup, aided by the U.S. in every way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they like the Bolivians down there like put in some like work. I mean, they were blocking bridges and making stuff blow up. It was impressive stuff.
It was really impressive stuff. And they brought out the Wipala. And then I love the fascist hunt that they went on. Like now, Luis Camacho is in prison. Janine Áñez is in prison. Oh, but in prison, she's actually passed a sewing course, so she's learning how to do useful things in
socialist prisons. I was just about to say, like, she's like learning how to weave baskets, isn't she?
Like, she actually passed. So she's like a level 1 certified tailor or design, like whatever that is. So she actually is learning some useful skills in prison. Like,
nice.
I feel like I'm a little upset that these prisons are so kind to these ambassador. She literally
Well,
had a tweet where she says she wanted to murder all these satanic Indians.
Well, I was talking to the bad socialism's take guy, and he he made a comment. I was like saying, Jesus, too bad ideology can't be liquidated in the gulag. And I said, no, it absolutely can be liquidated in the gulag. That's why they closed the program under Khrushchev.
Exactly. But Camacho. But now it's funny because the prisoners are like, I don't like. Some of the prisoners are striking because they don't want somebody as despicable as Camacho inside their prison. And Camacho is literally a soy boy, as in his family owns soy farms.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that he got arrested.
He's in jail now.
Oh, nice. Very awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna see when he got Luis Camacho. Yeah, he is. I don't know if he definitely deserves it because he was part of the Unión Juvenista.
The youth of Santa Cruz. Is what it translates to.
Unión Juvenista Santa Cruz, which is basically this is funny. Luis Camacho.
It's the Hitler Youth for Europeans that mysteriously found themselves in Santa Cruz after the war.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the other leaders was Branko Marinkovic, who is Croatian. We're definitely
Is he in jail yet?
No, he ran away to Brazil, and now they're trying to do an extradition. So eventually, he will soon be in jail.
Yeah, that's inevitable now.
Yeah, but
Boy, did he bet on the wrong horse for where to flee to.
There was Bolson. He definitely. Let me check out where Luis Camacho.
And he couldn't even go to Colombia now.
No, Colombia. Okay, so he was okay. Bolivian authorities arrest far-right governor Luis Camacho. Luis Camacho was taken by the police on his way to Santa Cruz. He was promptly taken to an airport and transported to the national capital, La Paz. And Attorney General informs public that the citizen Luis Fernando Camacho was apprehended in the afternoon of December 28 in compliance with the arrest warrant issued by the prosecutor's office in La Paz in the case called Coup d'etat, it wrote. Following Camacho's detention, supporters have reportedly disrupted 2 airports in Santa Cruz, causing airlines to pause operations. Camacho has been singled out for his because he literally the day I wrote an article about this, the day Evo Morales had to fled, he came to the presidential palace, and he so there's an indigenous deity called Pachamama. He ripped up the Wipala and said that Pachamama is dead and Bolivia now belongs to Jesus. And it looks like Jesus was like, nope, it does not.
There you go. Wow, that's like the exact opposite of when Jesus lost to the communists in Italy.
Yeah, So right after World War II, there was a thing where it says, but remember what the Vatican Church did during World War II, and it'll make perfect sense. So literally, one of the campaigns was "Con es Jesu ili troppo is Italian. No, against and with and literally against Jesus with communism. It worked. No, but then they also did this other thing where this was in 2008, where all these indigenous people were held at gunpoint, and they were forced to kneel down and sing the Lord's Prayer, which is just the most disgusting thing you can do to them, because that's not their religion, and they should not have to bow to your fucking colonizer god.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, small things.
What?
Yeah, it's the little things in life, really.
Being held at gunpoint and making forced to be prayed to Jesus?
Yeah, it's
by a Nazi death squad?
Yeah, what I'm making a sarcastic comment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's but the funniest thing is yesterday in WikiLeaks, I was reading this. All these white diplomats were upset that Evo Morales had passed a law that says that if you want to work in government, you have to learn one of the either Quechua or Aymara.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is reverse. And it's like, no, you're making indigenous people have been learning your fucking colonizer language like Spanish and English for centuries. So you better learn Aymara or Quechua.
Yep.
I feel like it's appropriate.
No, I mean that's kind of like a bare minimum thing.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
but
like like okay, like would it be like normal to like? Well, I mean, for the U.S. it would, and that's kind of the point to send a diplomat to Japan that can't speak Japanese.
Yeah, like Rahm Emanuel.
Like how do you even do anything useful?
You don't.
Exactly.
But then when you see the Chinese diplomats, you'll see each of them like speak like the Chinese diplomat to Serbia. She speaks Serbian without an accent. The Chinese diplomat to Russia actually speaks fluent Russian without accent. The Chinese diplomat to like every Arabic country speaks fluent Arabic. They're like they've lived there for like you can see they've studied it. They know it. It's like such a different thing that they.
Well, do. Yeah, but like in all fairness, if you can speak Chinese, you can speak fucking any language. It's all child's play at that point.
Здравствуйте, сейчас я в Санкт-Петербурге. Okay. I love it when I get Russian viewers. I get excited. No, you're right. If you can speak Chinese, but yeah, the U.S. ambassador, and what you do is they do like lots of wheeling and dealing. So they're not even doing useful. Like they're basically doing coup mongering and wheeling and dealing. And if you're doing coup mongering, yeah, the coup mongers are speaking. The people who want to coup are speaking English.
Yep.
And so yeah, so Luis, I forgot, why did we talk about? Oh yeah, all the reactionaries going to jail, and that's exactly where they belong. And I'm kind of sad that Bolivia does not have the death penalty, because Santa Cruz, Bolivia, is like the 7th level portal of hell. Every like Nazi jail son is there.
Pretty much. Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Come on, Klaus Barbie, let's go party.
Exactly.
Klaus Barbie was also literally there.
Yep.
Yeah, so I feel like Santa Cruz, Bolivia could use some sort of
sacking of Berlin.
Sacking of Santa Cruz. Yeah, it is like I don't know how, like what bad karma you have to do to get that many reactionary Nazis in one place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think karma like had anything to do with it.
Paperclip.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like actually worse. Like Argentina gets an ill-deserved reputation for being a Nazi hideout, but it's funny because the way Juan Perón had it
that's where Eichmann and
no. Hold on. Let me explain. Eichmann was kicked. So they started off in Argentina, but I read this book called Two Bullets for Ante Pavlich. And so the way Juan Perón said was that because the West kind of said you have to take some Nazis, so it was like, fine. But he also had a rule where it's like, if anybody wants to come and kill them, you're not going to do anything. So this guy went and killed, had 2 bullets for Ante Pavlich and went boom, boom. And the Argentinian police didn't even do an investigation. They assumed that Tito had sent him. Tito had not. They assumed that he had diplomatic immunity, which he did not. And then they're like, oh yeah. So that's why most Nazis fled from Argentina and went to Bolivia and Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I said Argentina's reputation is a little ill-deserved because, like, they had a free-for-all. Like, we're not okay. We might accept Nazis, but enter at your own risk, and we won't do anything if anyone wants to kill them.
Yeah, lifeguard not on duty, swim at own risk. Which funny
exactly
enough,
that was where Nazis. And that's why Eichmann was able to be taken out of Argentina, and that's why Mengele fled to Brazil.
Yeah, the one good thing Israel ever did.
Yeah. Okay. Santa Cruz. Yes. One of the heads of the Santa Cruz Fascist Committee is Branko Marinkovic. Yeah. And so,
why is the Hitler Youth in Santa Cruz allowed to have a Twitter feed?
I know. Why are they allowed to have a Twitter? Yeah, they have a Twitter feed, and it's disgusting. They've literally on my own channel, I have a video of them doing a Hitler salute. And so yeah, so Santa Cruz is one of the main founders or whatever was like a Croatian priest who was in the Ustazi.
Yep.
Yeah. Why are they? And yeah. So And
why was like the entire Catholic clergy in Croatia fucking Ustasha?
because we've done that article, you know this, because
Yeah.
like the Vatican arranged it and put what's his name, Archbishop Stefanic, and he kind of arranged all that.
Yep.
Well, yeah, so we've, I mean, it's because it was arranged that way by the Vatican.
Well, yeah.
Because this guy, he was like 36, he had never been even a parishioner, and he magically became archbishop after like some strings were pulled in the Vatican.
Yep. They overruled the king.
Yeah, they said that, exactly.
And not even like in a show of force. Like they just calmly did it in like a simple vote in a back room. Like,
Yeah, exactly, and they're like, yeah. Royal will first the king like said okay to Archbishop Stefanic, and then he figured out that he was like a psycho-Nazi, and then they're like, well, no, the divine will, once you give it, it cannot be taken back. And it's like, what the hell is the point of a king if you cannot do whatever the fuck you want?
Yeah, like the whole point of being a king is that like, you know, there's a divine right of us.
Exactly. And I don't know why the king, yeah, and I don't know why the king was like, fine.
Yeah, no, that's something else.
Yeah, so
well, probably because he liked the fact that his head was attached to his shoulders.
Oh, okay, that's probably it. Yeah.
I mean, he was probably a little bit inbred, but he might not have been the stupidest motherfucker that ever lived.
That is true. And then he got killed, and then his 8-year-old son became king, and the 8-year-old son's nanny basically ended up selling all of Yugoslavia to the Ustazi in exchange for like a beach house in Italy.
Yeah, can you believe that, like, you know, we seriously as a species like thought that was an efficient way to run a government? Was like, well, this asshole died, like, so like now that kid he made by banging his sister gets to rule the place. Like, this is normal.
Even though he's 8.
Yeah, even though he's 8, we'll just put his nanny in charge. We'll call her the regent. And then we'll like wonder why everything goes to shit so rapidly.
Exactly. Okay, so my favorite Croatian friend is here, and she says Stefanic is loved in Croatia. It sucks. I know. I don't know. And what really sucks is Pope John Paul II tried to make him a bloody saint. If you're gonna make him a bloody saint, you should burn down all of God.
Yeah, well, he's currently beatified. He's going to eventually be made
after this pope dies eventually, but right now he's on pause pending further investigation.
Yeah, pending further investigation. God damn it! Like, the Catholic Church is so fucking stupid, man. Like seriously, like everything you read it's like, this is so asinine. This is like literally 8-year-old boys like wearing like their dad's like towels, like with a "No Girls Allowed" sign on the fucking clubhouse. Like, it's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
It is, isn't it?
Like what drives me nuts is like the Vatican is sitting on top of like trillions of dollars worth of plunder, and we're never gonna know what's in there until like we get
sacked.
Yeah, until we get like a fucking socialist revolution in Rome, basically.
Yeah, inshallah.
And like, who the hell knows what's in there?
Well, okay. So in our episode on historically, we did Operation Gladio. There was this Vatican banking scam. It's just I can't just check our episode out. We did 2 episodes on Operation Gladio. There's everything. It's very messed up. Is what I'm going to say.
It's a pedophile cult of anti-Semitic slavery enthusiasts, and it acts like one.
Exactly. And I feel like I mean, a lot of churches are that way. A lot of religions are that way, actually.
No, every organized religion is that way for the most part. Like, if you've got an organized religion, like, I will show you a real estate acquisition scam masking a pedophile cult.
Exactly. Like one thing that people don't realize is that a lot of Indians say the stupidest shit on earth. It's like, I wonder why Hinduism is the only pagan religion that survived. And then I looked at the East India Company records from their parliament. It's because they bloody collaborated with the East India Company to the point where the owner of the East India Company banned Christian missionaries from coming to India because they got such collaboration from the Hindu priests.
And not only that, but like the religion was like so fucking useful in maintaining the caste system, which was worse than like anything the British could have invented themselves,
Exactly.
which is
Well, they
saying
made it. Well,
something.
what the British did is they made it stronger and unable to like ossified it. So they
Yeah,
used it. I know, but the first thing was that they found these priests and Hindu elites to collaborate, and that's why Hinduism survives in India, while other pagan religions didn't.
yeah, pretty much.
I have a big thread over there where I literally look through East India Company records, and the CEO of East India Company says that we can't send Christian missionaries because it offends the sensibility. Let me see. Can you talk for a second while I look for the thread?
Oh yeah, well, so everybody, like a lot of people, like always, like really get that backwards, and they think that like the caste system was set up by the British, and like no, the caste system like really predated the prominence of Hinduism, but and the British bolstered Hinduism to bolster the caste system, which is like the opposite of how it works in like every other colony ever. Like usually you like you end up bolstering like some sort of caste system, and then that like in turn results in like some sort of like weird religious nationalism like being born. But no, you here you bolster the religion to create the caste system,
Okay,
and now you've got Hindutva.
Okay, I found it. Hold on. Can you guys see this? Okay. Under the Mughal Empire, Europeans were allowed to travel freely, and East India Company knew how to control propaganda and what Europeans heard. Okay. Okay, so then the East India Company literally asked for a ban on Europeans coming to India. Why the fuck bleep will they do it? Because they didn't want Europeans to look at this. So then they say that it will offend their sense of East India companies, arguing how sending Christian missionaries to India is all going to offend Hindus. Like they can't fucking care about any Indian sensibilities.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this. It says that, look, do you convince that such unrestrained intercourse would affect the happiness of the native Indians? Oh my God. If so, what manner do you think? Undoubtedly, it will subject them to every kind of persecution, William, of the new adventurers. So, come on.
Jesus.
Yeah, mother effers. But, oh, hold on. How do I, Okay, thank you so much, Alexander Mehta. My Brahmin side had literal bars of gold and a pet Bengal tiger. Comprador descents represent. The caste system was reinforced. I am scared to know what my Brahmin relatives did, so I prefer to bask in ignorance.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm just gonna assume that.
I lucked out. Like I'm Irish, so everything my ancestors did was perfect.
Okay, hold on. Dmitry Ulyanov asks a really good question. Is the caste is developed in the Vedas? Incorrect. Sorry for my ignorance. Kind of. So what we do know is that from say not quite in the Vedas, but a little after the Vedas. Well, okay, so the only thing that all of India and all of Hinduism has in common is the caste system. Like, they don't even have the gods in common, literally. And in fact, if you look at Dr. Ambedkar's thing, he explains that ancient Hindus never saw themselves never called themselves Hindus, because the first time Hindu was referred to was by British, because they did not see themselves as a society, but a collection of castes. So, it's been there for a long time. So under the Chandragupta Maurya Empire, there was a Chinese visitor who detailed this, and he mentions the untouchable caste there. So it's been around for 5,000 years, but it's not been the same way. It's worked differently. but once the capitalism started, it just kind of got accelerated into full blown. It just kind of like how slavery, how chattel slavery kind of got accelerated into worse forms after the in advent of the capitalist machinery. The same thing happened with the caste system.
Right.
And I mean, the caste system is. So there's a good Twitter account called Dalit Voices, DALITVOICES. And can you talk for a second, and I can show you how kulakism is still alive in India today.
Yeah. So while she's looking that up, like I've like officially like run out of knowledge of Southeast Asian anything. Like I've
No, talk about some random crap.
uh, um, okay. Well, great. Now that you told me to, now I can't do it. My ADHD is like absolutely failing me. So I'm just going to talk about like how like I have a completely blank mind at the moment because I've been put on the spot and told to vamp, and I failed improv. That's how you know that like you've really failed at life when you're like you're an improv school dropout. uh, yeah. So. Okay. Well, yeah.
I can't find it right now. Next week. Okay, I can't find it right now. Next week I'll do it. So yeah, literally, like the kulak system is alive in India, and this is why I have a really hard time. Like whenever Westerners are like into froofy Indian practices, I have a hard time with the thing because you know that like the ISKCON temple, they have a fucking roof made out of gold, and I bet you they still have like quasi slaves cleaning their temple.
Oh, probably. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like an unfortunate statistic right now is that there's more slaves alive today than there ever have been on the planet.
And a
like,
lot of them live in India.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know where like the actual geographic breakdown is offhand, but like I do know that statistic is a fact that like I don't know how it stacks up like per capita, like what like a non-zero number is too high. I mean, we're talking about fucking slavery here, but yeah, more slaves alive today right now than there ever have been at any point in recorded human history, and that's a bleak proposition. Like like regardless of like the per capita rate, which I would actually be curious to know too, but I don't offhand. So
exactly.
I know. I know several million of them
special...
live in the United States prison system.
Hold on. Dimitri wanted books or so. Dr. Ambedkar is definitely the number one source about the caste system because he was Bhimrao Ambedkar is the guy who wrote. India has a really great constitution, regardless of the fact that it's not quite executed. It was done he helped write it. He was one of the untouchable castes, and he came up in the world. So he studied his PhD in Columbia, and this was his dissertation on how the history and how the economics of the caste system. So definitely,
is this the guy that like he's got like the whole thing, like he gets a lot of hate because like his whole thing is like to get rid of the caste system, like the first step is getting rid of Hinduism.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what he said.
You can't do it backwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly why he said Hinduism, there was no such thing as Hinduism because Hindus didn't see themselves as one society, but a collection of castes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking of the right guy.
Yeah, Bhimrao Ambedkar. And so he has 2 books about the origin of caste. So check that out. That's that's like the basic grammar of it. So check that out. And then we can talk about more advanced things. And maybe you and I should do a special YouTube stream about the caste system in India.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because I hate. Okay, this is the 2 kinds of Indian people who come out in the West. The ones who are like naive and kind of are Brahmins, and they have this glory thing. Even my own sister sometimes doesn't understand the godliness of the caste system in India. Sometimes she's just like, well, these are just like people who are praying, and I'm like, no, like people like the last week I saw this woman like tied to a tree and beaten because her cow or her goat went into somebody else's land. It's ghastly. And so the first one, the other ones who are trying to say that caste kind of is, but now things are better. It's like yet. So you get a lot of the whitewashers and who who just don't want to explain how ghastly the caste system is because they are subjected to Western racism, of course, but then so they think the way to avoid Western racism is to whitewash India. No, you just give the middle finger to racist Westerners and tell the truth about India,
There you go.
right?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. And there's a whole school of thought on like various cultures, like basically like whitewashing their own problems, like specifically to appeal to Western Eurocentric chauvinist sensibilities, and it backfires, man. Don't do it. Like I mean, if like
Yeah,
there's something.
screw what. No one cares what. You should not care what Westerners think. Screw them. Give them the middle finger.
Yeah, nothing that you ever did was worse than what a Westerner has probably done to your
Exactly.
people.
Nothing is worse than the Bengal famine where like vultures are eating children alive.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, just own like all the bad shit India did because it's not worse than anything Churchill did to you, and
Exactly.
that doesn't justify anything India did. But like, you got to understand what you did to like move on, and like that's true for everyone except the Irish who are perfect.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, you know what? Oh, wait a minute. You know who the very first freedom fighter in India was? He was an Irishman who opened up a newspaper in Calcutta.
Yep.
And then he urged Indians to fight against the evil colonizers in the 1700s. And then the British government deemed him insane and sent him into a mental hospital for the rest of his life.
That's a common thing in England is deeming Irish freedom fighters insane for wanting their freedom, and that's actually a trope that you see to this day that extended all the way to Mel Gibson's Braveheart movie.
Braveheart is Scottish.
Yeah, look at the way the one Irish character in that movie is portrayed.
Ah.
Like just like look the clip up on YouTube sometime. Mm-hmm. Like the Irish character, the one Irish character in that movie is portrayed as being so uncouth that Mel Gibson has to tell him to watch his mouth.
Ah, okay.
And he's
you
like,
take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom.
Yeah. They were wrong about that.
Yeah. They took both your lives and your freedom. Yeah. Even today, you're still under the British crown. And they also took this like wealthy, this diamond encrusted throne, like the throne that Charles sits on is actually stolen from Scotland.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's just incredible, man.
Yeah, so they took both your lives.
My old thing like with Scotland is like they like I will support like their independence movement like when somebody like other than a dude like so tame Mel Gibson would make a movie about him fights for the freedom of Scotland.
I don't care. I'm always for balkanizing England. It's just like it's like a what do you call it? It's like a Schadenfreude. Revenge for everything they did. I want yeah.
I mean, I want to do it just because, like, you know, I mean, we've got like 8 counties we need to get back in Ireland, but like,
yeah, the Northern Ireland is still balkanized from Ireland.
But like, you know, half of Scotland and most of Wales are just cooked. Like,
yeah, you can do it. Like I said, I'm always for separatist movements. It's like a Schadenfreude for me.
Did you see that dipshit like from West Virginia that was tweeting about how the Democrats are racist because he didn't really mean this. He's like trying to make like a dumbass point, but like how the Democrats are racist if they don't recognize reparations for Irish slaves. And,
sure.
And like yeah, that's the whole point. But like, where did it go? Oh, right. So here's the tweet. This is from Derek Evans of West Virginia. It's St. Patrick's Day. My ancestors were Irish slaves. Even though I've never been a slave and no one alive today has ever owned a slave, I still think I'm entitled to reparations.
Yes, you are, because you have to look at the four tenets of reparation is ending impunity.
For God, let me finish this. If the Democrats don't support this and they are racist against the descendants of white Irish slaves, which first off, we're not white, we're Celtic. We've never been considered white. We weren't considered white until in the United States. Pretty much the moment slavery ended, they wrapped us up into white, and like suddenly we were allowed into the bar with the dogs. And it's the same reason why Jewish was listed as a separate ethnicity on the census up until 1972, which is the year the schools were forcibly integrated. Like, it's this vacuum of suck that, like, you know, all these subjugated light-skinned minority, basically like anybody who isn't black will eventually be elevated to the pantheon of perpetuating anti-blackness in some way. But like, no, like the whites are the wasps. They are the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Okay,
hold on. Thank you for mentioning St. Patrick's Day, because we have a friend of a show, a guest who's performed this song before. We have to talk about the San Patricios Brigade.
But the thing I wanted to mention about this Derek Evans guy is that he says his ancestors were Irish slaves. Evans is a Welsh name. It's the fucking like what are the Cambric version of Stevens. It's
by the way, no. For me, I don't care about this. It's just petty revenge. I don't really I don't want to dismantle capitalism. It's just petty revenge for what they did to India.
Well, I also wanted. We can do both. Like,
I don't care. We don't have to being petty revenge for what they did to India.
Yeah, we don't have to separate. We don't have to separate the dismantling of capitalism from petty revenge. We can have it all. That's the point.
So let's pay homage to St. Patrick's Brigade. Can you hear this?
Yep.
My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched beneath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin-Go Bragh, bright with the harp and the shamrock and Libertad por la República. Just 50 years after Wolfe Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in Matamoros, where their volunteers were raping the nuns. In Monterrey and Cerro Gordo, we fought on as Ireland's sons. We were the red-headed fighters for freedom amidst these brown-skinned women and men. Side by side, we fought against tyranny, and I dare say we'd do it again. From Dublin City to San Diego, We witnessed freedom denied, so we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side.
Yeah.
There we go. That's why I have the quote unquote joke that the Irish are the Mexicans of white people.
Exactly. Well, anyone who fights on the and also Irish people went and volunteered and fought on Simon Bolivar's side against British colonizers. I'm sorry, Spanish colonizers. Sorry.
But because like we are Irish and like therefore like are prone to being huge pieces of shit. Like plenty of us like also supported the Confederacy.
Yeah. Exactly. But so in fact in Mexico City there is a big monument to San Patricio's brigade.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to like make sure, just pointing that out, that like nobody took me too seriously or out of context when I said that the Irish were a flawless people. It's just a fucking
everyone
joke.
understands the joke.
You would be amazed, man.
Like, kind of like how they didn't understand
you would be amazed at the DMs I get of people not getting fucking jokes.
Okay. Yeah. So next week. So we've broadcasted for an hour and 20 minutes. Do you have any? Let's see. Do you have any? I don't have any hot takes. Do you have any hot takes?
No, not at the moment. But if I'm a consummate poster, so if you follow me at Twitter at uncle_authority, you will see me there. I did the math. I post like 96 times a day.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay. I've been posting less just because it's kind of hard with the VPN thing.
Don't worry. I post enough for 12 people.
Okay, excellent. Follow him.
Also,
and we'll be back next week because MJ is sick and Janet has a doctor's appointment with their Georgy Dimitrov special.
All right, excellent. Join at joinhistorically.net as a paid subscriber.
Please.
And good things will happen to you. Excellent content will be upon you.
Yeah, we'll have the more you pay, the more we can hire people to do more content, and so it's like going to be a positive feedback loop. If it's all dazzled, like you're not going to get things, but when you have like 5 or 6 staff members instead of just me all like dazzled and ADHDing, you're gonna get
we've got like Russian lessons to pay for here. I've got to go to Russia too, so
конечно.
Yes. It's just and good, so good things will happen. Like seriously, it's what makes it possible. And if you can't, seriously, like share us around and tell everybody else to like join.
Okay. Oh my God.
It really does help.
Thank you so much, Zizi Lion Dad. Simon Bolivar got help from Haiti twice, which is a free black nation, which defeated the French so they could sell the Louisiana Purchase. Absolutely right. Hugo Chavez actually, in his book Doctrina del Liberator, he actually talks about how Haiti basically gave him weapons, and they were under constant siege, and without Haiti, there would be no Venezuela. And I've also done an episode about one of the earliest episodes is about Afro-Venezuelans and how there's a big relationship between Haiti and Afro-Venezuelans. So please check out that episode. Muchas gracias, Lion Dad.
Viva Dessalines. Jean-Jacques Dessalines is one of my personal political heroes.
Oh yeah, I love reading about Dessalines. It's kind of a very interesting juxtaposition to how he's seen in the West versus how he's seen in Haiti.
It's like no, I've got the whole dank meme of him. You know, I've done nothing wrong ever in my life. I know this and I love you, but it's Dessalines.
Okay.
Dessalines and Robespierre.
Yep. Confronting the Black Jacobins by Dr. Gerald Horne is a great poem. Exactly. I love Gerald Horne. Everything he writes is gold.
Gerald Horne slaps.
Gerald Horne is my
preeminent English language historian of our time.
He is great. He's one of the goats. Greatest of all time.
If you don't know about Activist News Network, start watching that.
Also, check out our interviews with Gerald Horne, where we talk about the counter-revolution of 1776.
That's an awesome episode.
Yep. And with that, I will say Svobodu Narodu Smrti Fascismu, and check us out in exactly 1 hour on Press TV. Check me
Slava
out.
Lenino.